I'm so excited, everybody. This is my favorite episode, episode 10, talking about percents. I love percents because they're so useful. In part one, let's talk about what a percent is. A percent is just a fraction out of 100, a portion out of 100, or put another way, a fraction with a denominator of 100. So, for example, if somebody came to you and they said 33%, the amount that they're talking about is 33 out of 100. Out of every 100, 33. That's the amount that they're talking about. Now, the symbol for percent looks like this: a circle, and then a slash, and then a circle. So if I wanted to say 33%, then the symbol for that would be 33 with this circle slash circle symbol here. So we've talked already about how to convert a percent number into a fraction. A percent number is just that number over 100 if you write it as a fraction. So for example, if somebody said 67%, you would just turn that into 67 over 100 because that is what percent means, number out of 100. So to convert a percent to a decimal, in theory, all that you would have to do is convert this fraction to a decimal. And we learned how to do that in the calculator. We could take 67, for example, and divide it by 100. And the result of that would be 0.67. Now, notice a little pattern that's shown up here. To convert a percent to a decimal number, the actual digits that you're seeing are the same. The only difference is that the decimal point is in a different location than it was originally. To convert a percent to a decimal, you just have to move the decimal place to the left 2 spaces. To give you another example, if somebody said, I am thinking about 3.5%, 3.5 out of 100, then this could be expressed as the decimal number 1, 2, move that decimal place 2 units to the left, 0.035. 0.035 would be the decimal number that represents the same amount as 3.5%. Or if somebody said, I'm thinking about 780%, and I want to convert that to a decimal, then that's equivalent to 780 divided by 100, 780 out of 100, which would be equivalent to if I moved the decimal place 2 units to the left and I got 7.80. Converting a percent to a decimal, move the decimal place 2 units to the left. Now, if you have a decimal number and you want to turn it back into a percent, then all you have to do is move the decimal place in the opposite direction. Move the decimal place to the right. So for example, if I had 0.721 and I wanted to convert that to a percent number, just move the decimal place back into position and I get 72.1%. And if I had, for example, 0.04, I would move that decimal point 2 units to the right, and I would get 4%. That would be equivalent to 0.04 units. Here's a little mnemonic that I came up with to help to remember which way the decimal place goes if you're doing this conversion. So if I'm converting a percent to a decimal, if I think of percent as being represented by the letter P, the letter P has this sort of lump facing off to the right side, right? And so if I wanted to turn this letter P into the letter D, then that letter would have to turn to the left in order for this little lump to be on the left side, like it is in the letter D. So since P had to turn to the left in order to become the letter D, then that is my reminder that I have to move the decimal place to the left to turn a percent into a decimal. Meanwhile, if I wanted to turn a decimal number into a percent, the letter D has to turn to the right in order for its sort of bump to end up on the right side. So turning to the right is my mnemonic that the decimal place moves to the right if I'm converting decimals to percents. So just to summarize what we've talked about so far, if we have a percent and we want to convert it to a fraction, all we have to do is remember what the word percent means. Percent means out of 100, so we would just put the number over 100. If I want to convert a fraction to a decimal, all I have to do is divide. And if I want to convert a decimal to a percent, then all I have to do is move the decimal point to the right 2 spaces. So using this triangle, you can get from any representation of a number to any other representation of a number. For example, if I wanted to convert a fraction to a percent, I would just divide to get it as a decimal, and then I would move the decimal point. So, for example, if I give a quiz and it's out of 14 points, and a student earns 11 out of the 14 points, what would this score be as a percent? And let's write it at 2 decimal places if we have to. I should say round to 2 decimal places if needed. If I want to convert this fraction to a percent, the first thing that I would do is divide to turn it into a decimal number. So I'm going to go to the calculator and I'm going to say, calculator, what is 11 over 14? 11 divided by 14 is 78.57 and some change. So let me steal this number. And this would be the decimal representation of 11 divided by 14, 11 out of 14. Now, to convert this decimal number to a percent, I am going to move the decimal point 2 places to the right. And now I get 78.5714%. And they said I can round my final answer to just 2 decimal places. So if I go to 2 decimal places and look at the digit 1 to the right of that, that's a very small digit, 1. So I will just delete all the numbers to the right of that decimal place, and I will get 78.57%. That would be this student's score as a percent value.